Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. I am Nurse Ags. I hope you all had a happy new year, happy holidays, and that you all are ready to bring in this new year strong. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you all how to be ready for your nurse interview. If you are interested, then stay tuned. All right, so they have called you, this hospital organization, to offer you a wonderful opportunity to interview for a position on their floor. And you are like, oh my gosh, what do I do? How do I prepare? And I am going to share with you how. You are going to do 3 things to be ready for this interview. You're going to prepare, obviously. You're going to pack, and you are going to practice, okay? So let's jump right into it. So the very first thing you are going to do is to prepare. So what all does that include, you might ask? 1, you're going to do your research into the hospital/organization who you are interviewing with, okay? So go onto their website, look on their homepage, look at their mission, their vision, look at their awards, their accomplishments, their reputation in the community, okay? You wanna know all this. Why, you might ask? Well, it might get brought up in your interview. They might ask you, why do you want to work at this organization, or why do you want to work at this hospital? And you don't want to be looking like, oh, well, I don't know. Like, you want to, be well prepared and let them know that you want this job for a reason. You want to work with this organization for a reason, and how your goals, how your vision aligns with their mission and their vision, okay? Does that make sense? Okay? But, there is obviously the reality of it. I know when I was first interviewing for my very first nursing job, and I'm like, I just want a job anywhere, like who cares who it's with? But at the end of the day, you want them to know that, you are interested in their hospital for a reason, and that you have done your research, okay? So just trust me on this one, okay? Whether it's your first job or not, do your research. All right, so in addition to prepare, you need to start looking up possible interview questions, okay? And not just looking up the interview questions, but you need to start drafting your response to each interview question. So where can you find possible interview questions, you might ask, or how do you know what they're gonna ask you? Well, there are several resources out there in the internet, okay? One being Google. That's like the #1 resource, okay? If you just type in interview questions, labor delivery interview questions, insert specialty field, I promise you a bunch of things will pop up. I will try to link some good links below with possible interview questions, but in this video, I will also share with you top 5 questions you can be asked in your interview. Okay, so stay tuned for that at the end. So Google's #1. However, you do want to be wary of Google because it can be very overwhelming. You can be asked several questions, but the best way I would utilize all those questions is whenever you go start practicing and you have someone like asking you these questions, have them like ask you any of the random questions. And the idea is there is more than one way of asking the same question. So when you start practicing your response to these interview questions, hand the interviewer, the mock interviewer, possible interview questions, several of them. Have them select like a random 5 and see if you're able to apply the responses that you have practiced to any of those questions, okay? And we'll get more into that in detail a little bit later, all right? So that's one way, it's Google. I'm also gonna share with you my top 5 questions. Also, if you happen to know someone that works on the unit or the hospital where you're interviewing, just hit them up and ask them, I've been offered an interview at this job. Can you please share with me the questions that they asked you whenever you were interviewed, okay? If you don't have that connection, that's just fine. Another really good resource is called allnurses.com. It's a wonderful resource for any nurse, and it talks about anything nursing related, from graduate school to undergraduate school. Is how to become a nurse, how to become a nurse in a specific specialty field. It's basically a forum setup, so anyone can contribute to it who is a nurse or who is an aspiring nurse. And what I've done in the past is I just type in the hospital that I'm interviewing with, and you'll be surprised. You might have people who have shared their past experiences interviewing with that hospital, or possible interview questions, or even if that form does not exist, you can even introduce it and be like, oh, I'm applying to this organization. Is there anyone out there that can share with me what to expect, okay? That's another option, okay? So you're going to prepare for the interview by researching the questions and start drafting your responses to each of the questions, all right? The next way you're going to prepare is to go ahead and draft out a thank you email to send to your interviewer, okay? This is absolute must, okay? Whether you prepare for it before or whether you do it after, but I suggest doing it beforehand. So you're just going to write out an email saying thank you for the opportunity, for allowing me to, sit down with you all and tell you about myself. In this email, you also want to kind of jot down 3 things to kind of just remind them as to why you are the best fit for the position. And then at the end, just say, I look forward to the opportunity to possibly work for your unit in the future, okay? Go ahead and drop that email, put it aside. So after the interview or whenever you finish the interview, all you have to do is revisit that email and then put in the recipient, type in the recipient, and then you can send it off, okay? So that's the third way you are going to prepare for your interview. Next, let's talk about packing. What are you going to bring to your interview? You don't want to have a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm going to share with you all what I have brought in the past and what I think is really the essentials, okay? So one is, I have it with me, I have my little tote bag. It's nothing fancy really. It looks like this, and I got it for like $10 from H&M. It was on sale for $10, and I like it because it's sturdy. It's a neutral color, so it matches with whatever outfit I have, and it's big enough to hold the things that I need. So in it, I have my portfolio, which looks like this, and inside, it has some resume as well as a little pocket to keep business cards. Because at the end of each interview, you want to ask for their business card or their contact information, so you can send that thank you email. Remember what I told you before? So like I said, it has some of my resumes. You want to make sure you print out at least 5 resumes, because you never know how many people are going to be interviewing you. I remember I had one interview where I did not have enough copies of my resume, and I felt very awkward about it. So just make sure you have several resumes, or several copies of your resumes rather. And it's not that it's needed, but it's just a really good look, because they probably already have your resume in their files, but for them to have a hard copy of it, when you go in and you introduce yourself, say, oh, hi, my name is so-and-so, here's a copy of my resume for you all's convenience. I think it's just a nice little touch to it. So that's just something, a side note to have, okay? So I have my portfolio, and then also the notebook paper inside of it is helpful for me to kind of jot down any notes I might have as they're telling me information about the job position. I'll just jot it down on the paper, okay? So I can have it to reference later, okay? Next, I have my little pouch, which in it is like my chapstick and my mints and my my credit card, okay? The reason why I have mints and chapstick is because when I get nervous, my mouth gets extremely dry, and so I like to just pop in a couple of mints before I step into my interview. Choose mints over gum, because you don't want to be chewing gum in the interview, because that's just extremely unprofessional. So I opt for mints instead, and then I also keep like a little bottle of water. I try to keep some water in my bag to kind of stay hydrated. That also keeps my mouth nice and moist and prevents it from getting dry and smelling bad also. We don't want that. And then also I keep a couple pens in my bag as well. That's to jot down notes. You just want to be prepared, okay? All right, so that's what you're going to bring to your interview. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention in the prepare phase is to go ahead and figure out how far away the interview will be from where you are, so you can plan accordingly. And you need to get there at least 30 minutes early, okay? That way you will have a peace of mind. You won't be rambling trying to figure out where you're going, and you don't have to worry about being late. And you also have time to kind of just get settled in, like use the bathroom to freshen up when you're there, and it just make you a lot less stressed. So just get there at least 30 minutes early. So you've prepared, you've packed, and now we are going to practice answering those interview questions, okay? So the best way I do this is to start out practicing with myself in the mirror, okay? Then I usually go to my father, so you can go to a family member and practice with them. Have them start giving you feedback. I find that going from practicing with myself to practicing with a family member is a lot better, because I just feel a lot more comfortable with them, and I feel a lot more comfortable with receiving feedback from them, okay? After that, you want to go to a mentor who's not a family member. So that can be a professor, it can be one of your preceptors during clinicals, it can be anyone in the nursing profession, okay? Go ask them if they will do a mock interview with them. Also, look at your university. They oftentimes will have a lot of resources that you can utilize to practice your interview. I know my school offered like to edit your resume, and they also offered mock interviews, and they give you feedback at the end of it. So that's really good because they're an unbiased opinion, and they're able to kind of give you some constructive criticism to improve your responses and what you can expect from an interview. That's probably like the more realistic interview that you'll get is the mock interview with a mentor or with a staff member from your school. And then lastly, if you have the opportunity just to do some practice interviews with organizations that you might not even be seriously considering. For example, I had the opportunity to interview with the organization that actually came to our school to recruit students to their hospital. The hospital was like in a whole nother state, so I wasn't really considering even moving to that state. But I figured, why not? What do I have to lose? I can, if anything, get some practice out of this. So I would say take advantage of that as well. Hey y'all, so I know I mentioned throughout this video that I would include my top 5 interview questions, or the top 5 interview questions that I had during my interview process. However, this video got really long, so I'm going to put it in a whole nother video. So just stay tuned for that. That really concludes it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all benefited from the video. And if you did, please give it 2 thumbs up and leave whatever comments, questions you have below in the comment box, and I'll be happy to answer them. But until next time, my friends, I will see you on the next one. Bye.